Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mariana Herberger and this is where I teach you how to exemplify your true potential. Today the topic is delusional self-belief and truly becoming your true authentic self, because I feel like, I don't know, it's a sign for me to talk about this or something, because this keeps coming up to me on videos and online, and maybe it's just a really popular topic right now, but I think it is genuinely so interesting and not talked about enough, because we kind of just think that we need certain strategies and certain ways to live in our fullest potential and become our truest self. But there's so much more work that goes into this, and that is your self-beliefs and your self-concept about yourself. So I wanted to go into that today because your inner state is just as important as your external state. I feel like a lot of spiritual teachers nowadays and people like that, they kind of just focus on the inner world. There are habits and things in the external world that will actually make you feel so much healthier in your inner world. And so I kind of wanted to touch on that, and I also wanted to touch on your inner world as well, because I feel like they're both equally important, and there's certain habits that you can do to help your inner world, but also your inner world is important as well. That sounded really confusing. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's my topic for today. External habits are really important. The way that you feed your body and you feed your mind is so important. If you're on social media and you're feeding yourself with negative content and posts about heartbreak and depression and anxiety and stuff following those terms, it's more likely that you're gonna feel that way in your internal world. That's why what you're consuming and what you're seeing and allowing into your life is equally as important. And that's why I like to focus a lot of what I'm consuming and the people that I follow online. I like to follow people that I'm either very similar with, like we have the same goals, similar ideas, similar morals, and or if they're living the life that I want, because I know that it is possible. The more that I consume their content, I'm like, yeah, like they did it, so why can't I do it? It's, yeah, equally as important. Feeding your brain with like learning and material and just constantly learning about new things. I'm a student in college, but I also like to research my own stuff on my own time. I'm a marketing major, but I'm really into neuroscience and psychology and stuff like that. So I'm constantly researching that stuff out of class. And I did not make it my major for a reason, because I have a passion about marketing, but I also have a passion about self-development and the mind and stuff like that. But the reason that I did not make it my major is because I don't want what I'm passionate about to start feeling like a chore to me. And a lot of the time, school can oftentimes feel like a chore, and I just did not want that. But I'm passionate about both. So just start consuming. I like looking up like little documentaries and stuff that I'm interested about. Recently I've been watching like fashion documentaries online, which is super interesting. I've been watching Diary of a CEO, which he has a lot of psychologists and neurosciences and like people from the CIA that go on there. I just watched the one about the CIA agent talking about stuff that we didn't know about our government, which is kind of interesting. I'll link that below. This one may seem super cliche and like everyone says this, but it's working out or moving your body in any type of way. I can feel so tired and so unmotivated one day, and then I go work out and I go to the gym even though I don't want to, or just go for a walk or something, and I already feel so much better and lighter, and the endorphins start to kick in, and I'm like all good, and I'm like, yes, yay, this is awesome, you know? So however you want to move your body. And I've seen such a glow up in myself from just doing this and being consistent with it, because you can see yourself starting to lean out a little bit. I'm spending more time outside, like I'm walking more, so I'm a little bit more tan. It's just awesome. I hiked sand dunes this weekend. Never thought I could do that in my life. Wow, okay, awesome. That's pushing yourself, you know? So, on to the self-concept part and the inner self and stuff like that. How you build like a magnetic aura and just loving yourself and confidence and good energy and high vibrations and all of that. That comes from the inner, living authentically and true to yourself, because the more authentic that you are in yourself, the more opportunities are going to come for you that are meant for you. Because if you are living, talking about and doing the stuff that you don't agree with and your morals don't agree with and your values don't agree with, you are not gonna have things that come into your life that are morally right for you. I can see this shift in my life when in high school I was too scared to post content. I didn't want to do all of that. I was just hanging out with my friends constantly, which isn't a bad thing, and I think it was really great, but I did not know at that time how much I valued having my time alone and just being able to think through my own thoughts and allow for me to just start doing what I actually wanted to do. Because posting content and being on YouTube has always been something that I have wanted to do, but I've always been too scared of either what people will think or the fear of failure. It's something that kept me back for a really long time. And then I got to college, and before college I moved across the country, and I was like, this is just the perfect opportunity to start over and try again. Because yes, the more you try something, the more you have a chance to fail, but the more times you fail, the more you're likely to succeed. That is one of my favorite quotes. I just love it so much because it reminds me that when you fail, you're bound to learn. And you only can learn from your mistakes and grow and get better from your mistakes. And that's the only way that you get better at something and you go from a beginner to a master at something. So you just have to start. And this started me living so authentically to myself, and I just feel like a lot of things in my life upgraded and I was feeling more content in myself. Something else that is very, very important is the way that you think about yourself and the way you talk to yourself. If you're constantly like, I can't do this, I'm not worthy enough, I'm not confident enough, you're not gonna get anywhere where a confident person would be. If you wanted to be a CEO of a company, but you thought you weren't confident enough to be a CEO of a company, you're never gonna be a CEO of a company. You're not thinking like the person or acting like the person who would have that, so you're never gonna have it. You must think like the person and act like the person that you wanna become to become it. That sounds very easy, and you're like, okay, Mariana, yeah, of course, obviously I have to act like the person to become that person. But most people kind of just like hope and dream, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope that opportunity comes to me, but I'm too stuck in my old ways. I don't want to change. Babe, if you want to get the life that you want, you have to change a little bit, or a lot of it. It depends what you want to change, you know? So that's very important, because if you're stuck in your old ways, beginning of high school, I was in this mindset where I was just like, you know, like, I don't know why I'm getting bad grades. I wasn't applying myself, I wasn't studying, so I wasn't acting like the person who would have good grades. So obviously I was not getting good grades. And I just think that was before my frontal lobe started developing, because like, what the heck, that's so obvious. It makes me mad thinking about it. And now I'm in the mindset of, oh, I have to study, I have to apply myself. Your girl gets good grades now. But anyways, and just A way to kind of shape your beliefs and change these beliefs about yourself if you feel really stuck and you don't know what to do. I want you to get really, really clear on the beliefs that you have and the beliefs that you want to change. You can do this through journaling, searching up certain questions about your shadow, your subconscious beliefs and stuff like that, because there's the subconscious and the conscious, and the conscious is at the peak of the kind of iceberg, if you can picture that, and your subconscious is everything below that. And a lot of the time we act mostly on our subconscious beliefs, and we don't know that we're doing that. There's conscious things that you think of, like, oh, I have to do this, and I pour my coffee in the coffee cup to get coffee, and like simple tasks and stuff like that. And like if you're thinking out a math problem and stuff like that, or you're talking to someone, that's usually your conscious mind acting on your life. But in your subconscious area, that is the way you act when you're angry, the way you act when you're sad, emotions that come up, and like triggers and stuff like that. And this is all stuff from either your childhood or traumatic events that have occurred to you. And there could be events in your life that you don't even remember, because a lot of our subconscious is formed before the time we are 7 years old, and we don't remember the first 4 to 6 years of our lives. So that's 90% of when our subconscious is being framed. So that's a little bit crazy. So most of your beliefs and the way that you are and the way that you're fired and wired together is stuff that you don't remember. That's kind of insane. But luckily, people kind of think, well, a lot of the time people just think, well, this is the way I am. Like, I always quit because this is the way I am. I'm lazy, and I react angry towards these certain situations because that's just the way I am. Or if you had very traumatic experiences in your life, like say you were poor or you got cheated on during a relationship, you could have very negative beliefs and identities towards these certain things, and things that kind of trigger you, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I believe this is a certain way because I've experienced it in that way. But that does not have to be your identity. You don't have to live with this wound in your heart or wound in your life thinking that this is how life is going to be and it's always going to be this way. It doesn't have to be that way. You can change those beliefs, and you can get really clear on what those beliefs are. And I've spent a lot of time journaling and just reflecting on these beliefs for myself, and then actively trying to change those beliefs. And how can you actively change those beliefs? After you're clear on what they are, you can start. The best time to change these beliefs is before you go to bed, or right when you wake up, because that is when your brain is in theta state, which is when your mind is the most susceptible to change, because you're in the state of being awake but not quite awake yet. So that is where a lot of your subconscious mind lives, and where you can actively change those beliefs and go to bed or wake up and go throughout your day with those new beliefs starting to wire into your brain. And how you do this, you can get into the meditative state, you can get into prayer, whatever you believe in, and kind of just focus on the life that you want, or your goals and stuff like that, and or the way you want to talk to yourself and what you believe can be real for yourself. Another way to do this is if you have past traumatic memories that have really held on to you, you can get into that meditative state, you can get into prayer and kind of rehash those traumatic memories and stuff like that. Like say if you have a negative belief around money because you always saw your parents growing up talking about how they don't have enough money and they're poor and they can't pay for these certain things and stuff like that. What you have to do is get into that meditative state, and whenever you think about this memory, try to think about this memory in a more positive way. Your parents cheering because they have so much money and they can't believe how much money they've made, and just
that forms like this more positive belief around money, and you're more likely to see that outcome in your life or act on opportunities that will allow you to make more money because you believe that you now can. Because you can have anything, God willing, in this life. I promise you. And the universe, God, wants to give you your passions and your dreams and stuff like that. I truly believe that you have things that light your heart on fire for a reason. You don't have this dream in you for no reason. You don't have something that lights your soul on fire for no reason. You're meant to act on those, because why else would God give us these dreams than to act on them? Because certain people, all different kinds of people, have different dreams, and they want whatever it is that they want. Like one person could want to be, I don't know, a carpenter. That's such a random example. Or one person could want to be an influencer. Those are two very different jobs, but they are equally as important as anyone else's dream, because you are meant to do that thing that you are passionate about. Oh my gosh. And throughout the day, if you feel that negative thoughts are coming up for you and you just are in the habit of thinking, notice how I said habit. You are in the habit of thinking a certain way. You are not those actual things. You are in the habit of thinking that way because you have been thinking that way negatively about yourself for years and years and years and years. And it takes 60 days to build a habit, and you've been doing that for years and years and years and years. So how many habits have you actually built up? A freaking ton. And because your thoughts about yourself are not who you actually are, a lot of the time we're our biggest critics, and you have opportunity to change what you think about yourself because you're the one in this life who's spending the most time with yourself. Why not make it enjoyable? Like if you have a whole day to yourself and you can't spend the day by yourself just dilly-dallying and having a good time, do you even love yourself? If you say no, that's okay, because I'm going to change that, obviously, through this whole video and all my other videos on my channel, to exemplify your truest potential. And whenever I have a negative thought about myself pop up and I'm like, I'm not worthy of that, like I'm not confident enough to do that, I go, whoa, who's talking right here? My old self is talking right now. My new self, who is super confident and is a business leader and has all these goals and has all these aspirations, she would never talk to herself like that. So I go, oh my gosh, like I'm so confident. I am so worthy of this opportunity. I'm gonna put my best. I'm gonna apply myself and all that kind of stuff. And that can kind of change with any negative belief that you have surrounding anything. You can also change that if you start thinking negatively about money and you're like, I don't have enough. Like I could never have enough money to have that nice car. Just be like, wow, I can't wait till I have enough money to pay for that car. That's gonna be awesome. See the difference? One is so much more energetically high than the other one. When you're working in low vibrations, all you're putting out into the world is low vibrational stuff. If you're putting out high vibrational stuff, you're gonna get more high vibrational stuff in your life because you're acting accordingly to that. On the quantum field, oh my gosh, I have to do another video on quantum physics because I can't get into all that right now, but that stuff fascinates me so much. And if you want that video, I can give you that video. All of that is kind of just reframing your brain and getting rid of your old self and allowing yourself to step into this new version of yourself and become who you truly want to be. So I hope this video helped a lot. I'm going to be making so many more videos, and if you want to exemplify your true potential and truly change your life, please come back to my channel. I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I'm so happy if you stayed till the end. Thank you so much. Love you all. Bye bye.